end of this show, they go back to Planet Jarrett, where Jarrett's just like lying on a bench. Gail and Scott are there, very worried. Scott is like, we're screwed. And then Jarrett sits up and he's like, I have an idea. And I have his number on speed dial.
And he will, I could try to make a holler if you hear me joke. There isn't.
He's gonna holler if you hear me. March 11th, Impact. We go to a feature on Sting as they push, the hook, the tagline for the pay-per-view about how a legend retired and a man returns.
I want to give one more shout about these segments real quick. JB has been the perfect, like, not straight man. You can't call him the straight man of the segments. But, like, I guess, like, substitute for the audience. Like, just bug-eyed open, not knowing what's going on. Just, like, he's just been perfect in, like, this goofball role.
Because, yeah, we did replace Shane Douglas with Jeremy Borash this month. Because Jay Penzer is now ring announcer, so JB has moved to backstage interviewer. And, like Shane Douglas, I find funny because he's like, ooh, franchise, I'm a character in the show. Yeah. But I can understand the critiques that perhaps the idea of the backstage interviewer doing that maybe undercuts a lot of the idea of backstage interviews quite often.
Yeah. because JB is never stealing the show, he's just emphasizing.
He does always compliment scenes, and he is a very important part of TNA comedy, because like JB filmed the Sting stuff. Alex Shelley obviously presented as the guy who filmed it, but JB was the guy with the camera filming that out in California with Sting's family.
JB truly being like a all over the team player guy.
Yeah, and like, I don't know, like he's clearly a guy who he's a Russo disciple. He did come up in Russo era WCW. He was Russo's guy in like World Wrestling All-Stars. Like he was always like a Russo adjacent guy, so he always had like arguably the wrong instincts. And
that explains the NXT being bad.
Yeah, and I was like, you watch some of this stuff and it's like the good version of that. You know, it's charming, It's funny, it's TNA comedy. And then you watch NXT and it's like unhinged, terrible. So it's he's clearly lost touch with his roots.
Or he's gotten too in touch with his roots.
Arguably. So we have an interview with Jarrett. Mike Tenay is asking him questions. Well, I think Mike Tenay is actually never on camera. They show Jarrett responding to questions, but the framing is that Mike Tenay is trying to get the answers out of him. So he's like, I never went to his house. That's not stalking. We were in a public space the whole time. How dare Sting be outraged about this? But as we mentioned, the hook at the end of last week's Impact is that Jarrett has somebody to counteract Sting, and he's never been in TNA.
I disagree. There's someone that looked a whole lot like him in TNA before.
Yeah, my boy Del Rios is being erased from TNA history.
He's not the Del Rio I'd rather erase from TNA history.
Ooh. But yeah, he's known this guy since early in his career, up to the death of WCW, and then he's going to be showing up this Sunday at Destination X.
It's Goldberg, baby. He's finally here.
Yeah, like, I wonder who people speculate, because, like, obviously Goldberg was linked with TNA a lot this month, and maybe they did want it to be Goldberg, but, like, Goldberg wouldn't be on Jarrett's side. That would be very silly.
But maybe people thought of it anyway.
Yeah, and maybe that's what people thought the tease was. It ends up being someone other than Goldberg.
Someone more fun, honestly, and coming in at the perfect time.
So after the Christian Cage Monty Brown main event, which we'll talk about when we talk about Christian and Monty, Planet Jarrett come out, they attack Christian, they handcuff Christian to the ropes. Rhino tries to make the save, but gets cut off. I don't think 3D tried to make the save. They're like, fuck it, we're done.
They're like, Ron just took the pin, so we need to that's our reason not to be here.
Yeah.
Even though Team T3 taking the loss would actually give them a reason not to be here.
Yeah, you could have done something where they were actually taken out, but nope, it's only Rhino who tries to save Christian, and everyone else is like, fuck it, I don't care anymore, we lost tonight.
Well, clearly Christian and the Dudleys haven't formed much of a clique backstage.
So when the Christian is handcuffed to the ropes and they start taking their turns whipping him with a belt before Steve Borden shows up.
Not Sting. It's Steve.
He's wearing like a Nike exercise shirt and just some pants, no face paint, no, not even glasses. It's just Steve Borden showing up to kick some ass.
And it's so weird.
It kind of rocks because he is absolutely running wild on everybody as Steve Borden.
He's doing a Sting comeback.
It is a Steve comeback. As Steve.
It feels immoral. It feels unnatural.
Crowd go absolutely apeshit as Sting runs wild on Planet Jarrett. He gets the belt. He whips Jarrett himself. He locks him in the Scorpion Deathlock. Before Jarrett's ace up his sleeve, Scott Steiner makes his TNA debut.
Holla if you mother effing him.
Steiner hits Sting with a belly-to-belly. The crowd then chant for Goldberg. Steiner tees up Sting for each of Planet Jarrett to take a cheap shot at him. Steiner then locks Sting in the Steiner recliner as Jarrett like scoots in on his butt because Sting is in like a crouched position. So Jarrett on his butt hits Sting with a guitar while he's trapped in the Steiner recliner as Planet Jarrett and Scott Steiner stand tall and Steiner's siren theme plays as the show goes off the air.
One like fun thing that I noted during this was that Steiner makes sure to give all of like the younger members of Planet Jarrett a hit and a bit of shine, which I think, which like I don't know if I ever necessarily think of Steiner as someone who is selfish, but I don't ever think of him as someone who isn't. And to see that was like, I was like, oh, all right, go on, good work, Scott.
Yeah, it is one of those things where it's just like, this could have been all about Scott Steiner, but they did nicely incorporate the other Planet Jarrett guys so that as I said, they can all get a little moment in Scott Steiner's big debut.
Yeah, it was just, I thought it was very interesting.
Not everyone in TNA management believed it was wise to bring in Steiner, but the only opinion that really counts is Jeff Jarrett's, and he is a longtime friend, despite some fallings out in recent years.
Fuck it. We had Scott Steiner and Abyss in there. RDX!
Yeah, it's nearly all of RDX. Sanjay's backstage. They should have got him out there.
RDX, truly the greatest stable of all time.
It was at this moment that the timeline began moving inward.
The fuse was lit.
Toward Scott Steiner starting a riot in India, yes.
Yep.
But yeah, Steiner's cool, and like Steiner in TNA turns out to be cool for very many reasons, so thumbs up.
We've got many wonderful moments to come. There's a certain promo. There's a certain whole episode. There's a certain 2-word statement, which is echoed in our brains for the rest of our time.
The Mighty and Don West love chatting about Scott D'Amore too.
Yeah.
Dave does note that Steiner hasn't actually currently signed a deal at this point, but he is showing up doing stuff. And also, like, you could do that with Steiner because I don't think he's going to jump to WWE anytime soon at this point in his career. This is my favorite point of Scott Steiner's career, where anytime he does an interview, he's like, that Triple H pussy bitch, let me see him take a drug test right in front of me, huh? Huh?
He's not wrong.
He was not wrong indeed.